So first thing I'll be doing, the first thing I'll be thinking about is questioning my client, my club members to see what they've done, what haven't they done, um, where have they paddled, what experiences have they got, um, and also what do they want to get out of that session. So does their experience level match their aspirations at this point? Yeah, and then based on that, we'll probably get out of them as a specific area they want to work on or want to develop. So, for example, they might want to learn how to ferry glide. So, if they want to learn how to ferry glide, the first thing they need to be able to do really is to paddle forwards in quite in a really good way or a competent way. So, what task can I set them to have a look at their forward paddling? So, this might just start off on flat water or a gentle bit of flow, and just get them working on their forward paddling. So I'm going to set them a task, and that task I'm going to need to be able to set them. I need to be able to observe. Yeah. So we're going to set them that task. Hopefully it's an achievable task, because if they can't do it, we need to step back a level. Yeah. But we'll get them to do that task, and then we can see are they competent? Can they paddle forwards? Or what bits at this stage might I want to change? So you've almost got, from an observation analysis point of view, you've almost got two videos running. You've got what they're doing over here, and then you've got a picture of what you think it should look like over here, and you kind of run those parallel in your head, and it's almost like playing spot the difference. So this is what I think they should look like. This is what they look like. What do I need to change? Once we're happy with that, once we've got some movement there, then we might change the environment slightly. So we might start off on a flat piece of water, and then that might progress onto something with a gentle flow. And then that will bring in other issues, won't it? So as you know, we then need to look at crossing eddy lines. We need to look at applying edge. And then we might need to look at changing speeds, because the water might not be a consistent flow. It might have peaks and troughs as you go across. So again, you're just repeating that process again. So we've set them another task by changing the environment, and that might cause some other issues. So we're just going to build it up nice and gradually, nice and gently, and making sure they can go both ways as well. Oops. How's that for a start of the session, Reese?
Yeah, just unmuting myself. Yeah, so another thing that I like to think about is, I'm sure people have heard the name Maslow before, but that kind of hierarchy of needs. So just getting people thinking of those basic human needs to start off with. So before actually going out paddling, just making sure people, as Paul mentioned earlier on, do they have sufficient equipment? Are they going to be warm enough for where we're going, what we're doing, what's happening? Are they going to be comfortable enough? Do they have sufficient food? Have they eaten beforehand? And do they have the sufficient food to take out with them as well? Did they have a good night's sleep beforehand? Have they been worrying about what's been happening or what's been going on? If I've got someone who's comfortable and relaxed in where they are, they're more likely to pick up the correct information at the correct time. So that's one of the things that I like to do with anything that's going on, is just those basic questions of making sure that people are happy and comfortable with where we are, so that that learning environment is going to be the best for them for that day. If people have had a terrible night's sleep, they're not 100%, perhaps taking them down the grade 5 won't be the best option. Perhaps bringing things back slightly and just having a bit of a play on the grade 3 stuff, which might be well within their capabilities, but it'll make them enjoy what they're doing. And we can pick up a few things and coach a few aspects, so that when they are fully rested and feeling happier, then the grade 5 sort of things might be a better option. So that's another thing which I'd add into that, is just making sure that people are happy and comfortable with where they are and what's going on for that day. So the Maslow side of it links in quite nicely with that one. Did anyone else have any other things they wanted to add in with that section at all? Just the on-the-day decision making.
Yeah, it's not necessarily on the day decision making. It's getting them kitted up. Paul talked about kit, but it's about kit fit. So foot rests and bike rests. Now, it's about getting the paddler to take ownership of their own adjustment, because a considerable amount of coach time can be lost at the beginning of a session, and a huge amount of fat factor taken out of your session as you're just trying to get them set up. So spending some time in one of the early sessions, the importance of connectivity, getting them then to be able to adjust their own boat. So next time we come out, we don't lose a quarter of the session just getting onto the water.
Definitely, I fully agree with that. I know that Errol agrees with that sort of things as well, because I've had many conversations in the past about going through those basic skills, like, you know, even if it's looking at, like, you know, getting boats on and off of a trailer, on and off of a roof, that sort of things, so that people get used to the whole paddling experience and they learn about it, opposed to turning up, having everything done for them, and then leaving at the end. If that happens every session, as you said, you're going to lose quarter of an hour at the beginning of every session setting up everyone's boat for them, minimum. Whereas if everyone learns it in the first week, yeah, they'll have less time on the water week 1, but week 2 onwards, they'll have loads of time because they'll know what they're doing. They can set up their own equipment, and we can have more time actually getting out on the water, doing what we need to do, or what we want to do, rather than what we need to do. Fully agree with that.
It's also developing their independence as well, isn't it? Which is really, really important. The more self-sufficient paddlers can be, the better for them and the better for their learning, and they become more confident. So that's super important.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's also worth emphasising making sure that they're comfortable, and especially on the stress levels, that they're not put off by the venue chosen. They're not scared of it, because if they're scared, they're not going to think about what they're doing. They're not going to be listening to you. They're just going to be survival mode.
Yeah, and that's not going to keep them with us, or keep them with a club or an individual long term. If that's all they're thinking about is, oh, that experience with that person, with that place was very scary. That's all they're going to think about, rather than the nice bits they actually enjoyed as they went along. So yeah, just creating that process where people can speak about what's working for them. If they want to take a step back, that's great, that's fine. We can take a step back, and identifying those options at the beginning is key for me, really. And just letting people know that if there's something that you don't fancy, that's fine. There's always another option. There's always another way of doing something. This is plan A. We've still got like another 5 or 6 plans that we can play around with, we can do things with, just to let us know we can change things, adapt things, make things nicer for you, because it's your day out at the end of the day. That's what I like to try and emphasize is, like, you know, it's your course, it's your day out, it's your whatever, just so that they know that whatever decisions they make, it's fine. It's completely up to them if they want to change things slightly.
Yeah, as long as they'll tell you. Sometimes you have to see that they're not paying attention, or they're scared, but they're not actually saying anything. Yeah. So you have to judge that as well.
Yeah, and it's recognizing, like, you know, when that engagement has gone slightly, and it is a case of they're just holding on and just getting things done. Like, you know, noticing their body position, or like, you know, the body tension, for instance, has increased. Their rotation isn't as good as it was. That people are just stiffer in their approach with their paddling as they're tensing up physically. And it's as soon as we start to notice some of those cues, that's when it's a case of, okay, let's change things a little bit and start to make life a little bit nicer for you as the individual going across. And let's work on this skill here for a little bit and forget about the rapid that's down there. Maybe that could be a good way of doing things.
I missed that bit, but that sounded like venue choice coming back into play there.
Yeah, and that ability to reduce the environment or
Yeah.
reduce the task.
Yeah, getting somebody to ferry glide above Mrs. Davis's bridge on the Trent is probably not the best venue. The big hole right behind you.
No, you'd want to be reverse ferry guiding for that one, I'm sure.
Absolutely.